could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less. You check as I'm chess, what's happening next? Yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson. He got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they see me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft, you can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing.
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C. And today we got a very, very special guest. Listen, I'm a fanboy with this one. One of my favorite Dolphin players of all time. My guest was a first baseman for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Still holds the record for stolen bases in a single season or single game with 4. He was drafted by the California Angels in the 1991 Major League Baseball draft. He was an All-American football player at the University of Penn State at the wide receiver position. He was the 1992 Fiesta Bowl MVP, a first-round draft pick of the Miami Dolphins in the 1993 NFL draft. Please welcome the great O.J Mcduffie. Welcome, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Big C. How about yourself, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Glad to have you on the show. It's like I said, I can't even believe I'm talking to you.
Oh man,
it's
my honor, bro. You got it twisted, man. It's my honor to be on with you, brother. I'm looking forward to this.
I appreciate that. So, talking Dolphins football, there's a lot of fans out there that think that we should just tear down the team. There's a lot of stuff going on with Tyreek Hill. How do you see the last few seasons of Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel's little co-running of the team? Do you think they're just lost, or do you think that there needs to be a change that needs to happen, or they can get it back on track? Or,
well, you know what? Last year obviously was a very disappointing season for us. You look at the 2 previous seasons, you see us go to the playoffs, you see us contend pretty much 2 years ago for the division, and then last year was a dud. It really was a dud, man. And we expect our team to be better. You expect the team to get incrementally better than they were the year before. We expect our team to challenge for the AFC East, and it didn't happen last year. You can blame a lot of different reasons. You can talk about injuries. Every team has injuries. You can talk about not having guys like Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb at the beginning. You can talk about a lot of different things. But what we did have last year, Big C, was we had that offense back. We had all those guys, all those weapons back. For another season, the Mosterts, the Achans, the Waddles, the Tyreek Hills, we had Jonnu Smith, you got Tua Tagovailoa, you got the offensive line that the way you want it. and they weren't very good. You know, they weren't very good from the beginning. And then Anthony Weaver's defense took a little while to get going, and then they became good, but our offense was, still not as good as it should have been. So to get back to your question, what should they do? I mean, I think our owner, Mr. Stephen Ross, told these guys, that wasn't good enough last year. So I think this is a put up or shut up year for both of them, both Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier. But hell, players got to go out there and make something happen for these guys, man. I think it's a solid enough team. Like I said, bringing Anthony Weaver back with that defense again, I think it was rock solid. But the players got to go out there and do something to help these guys out a little bit. But, you also got to do good with 10 draft picks. The lack of what we did, we didn't really do much in free agency. So the onus is on those guys to get the players, but it's only onus is on Mike McDaniel and his staff to make sure these guys are ready to go out there and compete this year.
Well, I think that's what the big surprise was, that, Stephen Ross did put out that statement that the status quo wasn't good enough. So we were expecting, these guys to be on the hot seat. So we were expecting these big moves in free agency. And I knew that we didn't have the salary cap space to go get the Trey Smiths or the real big names. But I felt like there was an opportunity to grab some very talented players to add to this team that we just didn't jump on. Like, we brought Liam Eichenberg back, who I think is absolutely terrible. And to be fair, he's never been really given a shot. Like, hey, you're a left guard, go out and be a left guard. They have moving all over the field. And I feel like in 2023, our offensive line, we had a very good offensive line. I think that's the best team that Mike McDaniel, Chris Grier put on the field in the last few years. But we suffered so many injuries down the stretch that we just couldn't overcome.
Right.
And then last year with another Tua injury, and let's be real, like Chris Grier, you guys are worried about the offensive line more than we are. We just weren't good enough up front.
No, definitely not good enough up front. I never thought I would ever say this, but the Austin Jackson injury was huge for us. He came into his own, man. He's solid. And, you think about it, left-handed quarterback, that's his blind side. And Austin Jackson was really, really, he became that guy that we thought he could be when we drafted him in the first round back in 2020. And, so I thought that, that injury really, really hurt us. I love the acquisition, obviously, of Aaron Brewer. That was a good job. And then Teron, we didn't know week in, week out what Teron was going to be doing. So all the lack of knowledge of not knowing what was going to happen kind of hurt that offensive line. You talk about Liam Eichenberg. The reason Liam gets another contract, so Liam plays all 5 positions, bro.
Yeah.
You don't find many guys that can play all 5 positions. Maybe not at the highest level, and that's probably why. You try to do anything. You try to be good at 5 different things, you're probably not going to be great at anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's probably, I know Liam. We could plug him in anywhere. So you have to have guys like that on your team. Especially when you go out there in a football game, there's only 47 guys that can dress out. So, yeah, Liam's not the greatest guy, not the greatest player. But, man, when you have a guy that can do all that, he's invaluable for your football team. And that's part of the reason Liam gets another shake. We've got to create some nastiness, Big C, in the trenches. We need some nasty guards, bro. I like going to get some grown men from other teams that played at a Buffalo, played at a Baltimore Ravens, played at a Pittsburgh that are just, their team, doesn't have a spot for them, but they're just nasty because of the culture that they come from. And that's what we need to do at the guard position. And I think that there's some opportunities out there. After the draft, there'll be some guys out there. After June 1, there'll be some guys out there. Just getting nasty in those positions. I want to be nasty again in the trenches, and that'll be the key to our offensive line having some success.
Well, yeah, a lot of the fans give Tua all this, and a lot of it's rightly deserved. They give him a lot of, excuse my language, shit. But this team has never been built the correct way. I mean, the one year that we were, like I said, we were good up front. We were the number 1 offense in all of football.
Right.
You know what I mean? And my stance on Tua Tagovailoa is that we can't have a quarterback that we can't rely on year in, year out. So it's not so much play for me as it is the injury concern. Right. But do you think that there's enough people that we can add enough pieces in the draft and in free agency to compete for a playoff spot this year or division title this year? Or you think it's just, this is like a soft rebuild and we're not really going in that direction?
Well, Big C, man, you talk about Tua, man. The best ability is availability, and we haven't had that
Absolutely.
on a consistent basis with him. The draft. Look what the Eagles did through their draft. They rebuilt their whole defense through that draft. They have their 2 first rounder. I mean, their 2 top picks 2 years ago. Were incredible. They started for them this year and last year. They had their 2 top picks this year. Whatever, competing for defensive rookie player of the year. And you saw what happened for those guys in the Super Bowl with some of those young guys. So things can definitely happen in the draft. I'll tell you, and you get guys that come from these different programs that are already pro-built, that are ready to compete at the next level. You have to draft well, man. There are some guys that are already playing for the Georgias, the Ohio States, the Penn States that are ready to play right now. So go out and get those guys. I get you want to take some chances on some guys, and there's no dig on like a Townsend State or a South Dakota State. There's no dig there, but you got to look at the guys that have played against pro guys like all their lives in college, and hopefully it translates. And sometimes it doesn't. Some guys have played in the Big 12, in the SEC or the Big 10 their whole lives, and they get to the next level and it just doesn't translate. But I would go find those dogs first, and they can definitely be impact players right away. The NFL is created to a way where anybody can win it any year. They really can. Look at the Commanders, what they were able to do. Nobody expected the Commanders to do what they did and go as far as they did. Nobody expected Houston a couple of years ago to be as good as they are. So the NFL is built that way. If you draft well, develop well, and coach well, you got a chance to contend right away. And that's what the Dolphins have to do. They have to find a way to go out there and contend and compete. I'm not asking, maybe some people are, the Dolphins to go out there and win a Super Bowl this year, but I do expect them to make the playoffs and win a freaking playoff game. That's a step forward for me. If we can do that, then I'm all in on, bringing the whole crew back and running it back.
You think Tua's capable of that? A lot of people don't think Tua's even capable of winning a playoff game or winning a cold weather game.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? Think about it, man. We do live in Miami. I know you live in upstate New York, bro. Yeah. But most of the teams that do well, they have home field through their building. The Chiefs had home field through their building most of the time. Patrick Mahomes played his first road playoff game, I think, last year, and they've been to how many Super Bowls? Yeah. So, and then you look at Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning couldn't win outside of Indianapolis and being in the dome. And so certain guys, that's the way it was. Even the 72 Dolphins, the only team that went on the road constantly and won and went undefeated. For the most part, though, it's got to come through the building. So what they have to do, Big C, is they have to win games and get home field advantage. They have to get home games in order for it to come through Miami. And no matter what, January, late January, mid-January, it's still going to be a little warm down here, and it'll be tough on teams. So we got to take advantage of our situation instead of having to go into other environments, minus whatever degrees it was in Kansas City or 0 degrees in Buffalo, and expect to be able to play well.
Yeah, he has had a couple decent games in Buffalo where we weren't able to pull out the victory, but he played pretty good. Yeah. Tyreek Hill, what's your stance on it? Should we just cut our losses, or should we try to make it work? I'm in the minority with how I feel about Tyreek Hill from most fans that I see. Listen, this guy has his off the field stuff, and does it affect the team, and is it an embarrassment to the team? Yeah, but we pay him for what he does on Sundays. And that's my main concern. If he's not out there beating his wife or hurting children and stuff, I don't overly care what he does. As long as it's not overly crazy. Yeah. But do you think that we should keep him, cut ties with him, or what?
I'm a huge Tyreek Hill fan. I really am, man. The talent is incredible. The distraction to the team is huge. It really is. And sometimes the distraction is greater than the talent, or the talent is greater than the distraction. We're getting to the point right now where the distraction is creeping up to the talent. We're getting to that point where how much is that affecting the rest of the guys in the locker room? How much is that affecting, the Jalen Waddles and, the Eric Ezekamas and all the other guys, the Malik Washingtons that are in that locker room or in that room, that wide receiver room, on what's going on with Tyreek, when they've got to address so many different things other than football. Yeah. And then when you get comments, when they get interviewed, they're talking about Tyreek Hill. It gets a little stale. It gets a little old, Big C. And I'm like, wondering how much we can afford to do that without messing up our young core of guys that are super talented and out there trying to work. So I think Tyreek's got the same opportunity that Mike and Chris Greer have. You know, this year right here, look, we've already started off. I mean, hell, we're in April and we've already had an incident. So if incidents continue to happen, you got to figure out what's best for the football team. And if somebody's willing to take Tyreek, you have to entertain every opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, if we were going to get more compensation or it was going to help our salary cap, I could see it more. It's just we've gone through such a long stretch of since when you were here, Dan was here, you know, that we haven't been very good. And he's the most explosive, best player we've had in the last 20 years. I mean, besides Ricky Williams, you know what I mean? Right. And it's just hard for me to say, let's let him go. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, Big C, here's the thing about it, though. If we don't have a Tyreek on the field, I see a better distribution of the football by Tua Tagovailoa. I see Jonnu Smith getting more opportunities. I see Jalen Waddle getting more opportunities. I see Malik Washington get more opportunities. Of course, Achan's going to get his opportunities. I just see Jalen Wright's going to get more opportunities this year, too, coming in the second year in the league. You know, when you've got an alpha male or you got this one guy that's at such a high level, you tend to design way more plays for him, and the quarterback teams are just zeroing him all the time. Whereas when you don't have him out there, and you've seen sometimes when Tyreek might not be on the field, the distribution is so much greater, and teams have a tougher time dealing with us as an offense because there's so many gifted dudes on that offense, man. Just give them an opportunity. And I know it gets frustrating. I played when I was there when Urban Fryer was the #1 primary receiver. Keith Jackson was #2. You know, Mark Ingram was #3, so I was just happy to get any scraps for my first couple of years of the Dolphins, you know, but we knew that ball was going to Irv, that ball was going to Keith, and then once Irv and Keith weren't there, then all my former teammates said the ball was went to me, but I disagree. I think Danny was really good at distributing the rock, and I think that's always good for a team. Keep another team off balance by, spreading that wealth, making everybody on that field, especially on the defense side, work, and keeping a lot of these guys happy.
Well, you were Mr. Third Down. I think I'd seen somewhere that at one point in your career, 75% of your catches came on third down, which is mind blowing.
The first downs, yeah, man, it's
mind blowing. I mean, you were that security blanket. Some of the plays that I remember from you was that punt return against the Colts. I think you were a rookie 71-yarder where you leaped over the dude. Phenomenal. I remember you blasting Derek Thomas.
Ooh.
The great Derek Thomas.
Yeah, I love him, man. I love that man. I was afraid of him for Big C. I was afraid he was going to find me outside somewhere in Miami, man, and get back on me, bro. So
you put a hit on that guy.
Yeah, I love D. Definitely. Yeah. DT was a great place, obviously, man, a great man. And I had an opportunity. It's a playoff game. I had an opportunity to get a hit on him, man, and I had to take it. That's an illegal hit nowadays, so I'm glad I got it in while it was legal.
Obviously a Penn State guy, Chop Robinson from there. You got a couple coming out in this year's draft. I hear some fans saying that the Miami Dolphins should consider taking Tyler Warren in this draft. What's your thoughts on him? Is he as good as Brock Bowers was last year? Is he that good of a talent that the Miami Dolphins should consider taking a tight end in the first round?
Brock Bowers is a high standard. I mean, that he's so good, coming out of Georgia. But Tyler Warren he's a Swiss Army knife. He does it all, man. Boy, he's super talented. And he blocks well. So I can see a 1-by-1 with him and Jonnu Smith being a very, very enticing option. I love Julian Hill, but Julian Hill had his opportunities, and he didn't really take advantage of them the last couple of years. Definitely didn't take advantage of them last year. Yeah. Kind of put us behind the 8 ball a lot of times. Of course, Tanner Conner is a guy that they've given a lot of opportunities to, but he's no Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren is such a special, gifted athlete that we went into that semifinal game against Notre Dame. None of our wide receivers had a catch. But Tyler Warren carried us on his back all by himself, that in the run game. And so, he's super talented. And if we were able to get him at 13, I would jump on it because he's also an extension of the offensive line. He's a hell of a blocker. He's a big, big, big dude. You wouldn't imagine how big this guy is until you see him in person, bro. And so strong, big and strong, can block. I can see one by one, being off of Patrick Paul's ass or being off of Austin Jackson's ass, and we could maybe even freaking run the ball with this guy as well. So if we can get him at 13, I'm always rooting for we are Penn State guys. So yeah, definitely get him.
Abdul Carter he's getting a lot more praise than Chop Robinson got coming out. Is he that much better than Chop?
He's bigger than Chop. He's bigger than Chop. And I think that might be why. Chop appeared to be undersized at the beginning of his career last year with us, but then he figured it out. Chop had a hell of a second half of the season, and he's just going to get better. He's going to get bigger. He's going to get better. But I think they're comfortable. Both super fast guys, low leverage guys. They can bend and get around the edge. I just think that Abdul's just a little bit bigger right now, and I think that's going to help him at the next level until, Chop gets a little bit bigger with some of these big tackles he's got to deal with. I think that's the advantage, but they're both just super great athletes, man. And I think Abdul is going to be incredible at the next level.
All right, so you're the Miami Dolphins general manager. What's a perfect top 3 picks for you?
I never hate to go. I never like to go offensive line unless we're looking at tackles, in the first round. So definitely not going for guards in the first round. We've got our tackles. We've got, Austin Jackson. We've got Patrick Paul. So I think we've got some really, really solid tackles already. I think we see what's going on in the secondary. Right now, you look at some of the guys that we have at corner. Of course we got, Jalen Ramsey at one corner, but then, I thought Storm Duck had a solid season last year. Is he ready to be the starter opposite him? I don't know. Kader Kohu can go inside, outside, but we see that sometimes when he's outside, he struggles a little bit. So I wouldn't mind going corner. I wouldn't mind going safety. I do love I like our linebackers. I love Jordan Brooks and what he did. I think that we should be all right on the inside, but my focus for the first 3 rounds, honestly, will be defense. Defense. And then, like I said, I'd like to find some guards in free agency that'll be out there, some big, nasty guards. So if I can work on defense first, kind of like the Eagles did the last couple of years, made Vic Fangio look like a genius the last year, that'd be ideal for me, for us to work on that defense first. And I think, Anthony Weaver would love that as well.
Yeah, I think at 13, if Will Johnson's available, you probably jump on him. But
yeah,
other than that, I would like to see us trade down to maybe 20, 21, 22 and see if we can't grab an extra second round pick. Because this draft is definitely deep. I think Chris Greer needs to be wheeling and dealing, get an extra second rounder and try to get up to the top of the second round, because there's a lot of defensive tackles, and that's a glaring hole on this team that Clay has left us, so
that's a good point too. That's a great point. I think the more picks you get, obviously the more opportunities you get to see what we have, and I think that if we're not loving 13, why not drop down and go find something else that we might like a lot more? And the more picks the better. But what are we going to do with those picks? Are we going to? It's not the number of picks. Are you making the right picks? Big C is the question, So we'll see if we're making the right picks when we get some of those guys. But they've done a pretty good job. Think about it. The guys that we've drafted, man, that have, that we've had the last, these past few years, they've done a pretty good job with the draft. We talk about some of the guys. Austin Jackson looked like it was going to be bad. Now look how good it looks. You look at Tua's great when he's healthy. Achane pick, you got some guys that are, I'd love the Jalen Phillips. We can just keep him healthy. That's a great pick. So he's done some pretty good jobs with picks. Waddle's been a great pick. Chop was a good pick. So we just got to keep picking them and develop them and keeping them. Big Seth, the guy I do my podcast with on, the Fish Tank, he's like, yeah, we get these guys, we draft well, but then we let them go in free agency. Let's develop and sign our own guys and keep them here, bro. And I think that's the key right there.
Well, Chris Greer's waiting too long to re-sign them. He's, you got to get out there and get them the year before they become a free agent. You know what I mean? Like
before the dollar amount becomes too big, for sure.
Yeah,
but that's what you got to envision, that they're going to be that good, and you've got to go out there and take care of them early when they're asking for it early, and you don't have to pay them as much when they go out there and outperform their contracts the next year.
Yeah, there's got to be some incentive. I mean, if you're a month away from free agency anyway, you might as well wait it out now.
Yeah.
See, Chris Greer's drafting to me has been Austin. You know, these players are good, decent to good that you named, but I don't feel like they necessarily match up to where they were drafted. Like Jalen Phillips, he's yet to have a 10-sack season. You know, he was a top 15 pick. Austin Jackson, a first-round left tackle that's playing right tackle. Tua Tagovailoa can't stay on the field. Even Jalen Waddle, who I think Jalen Waddle is a very good receiver, but I don't think he's. I mean, Jamar Chase was picked 3 picks before him. We could have had Jamar Chase. Noah Igmadogany. We passed on T.J. Watt to draft Charles Harris. There's just been so many terrible picks.
Yeah, they see the first 4 you said though, their biggest problem's been injuries. All those 4 guys. You know, you look at Phillips, you look at Waddle, you look at Tua, you look at Austin Jackson. Their biggest issue's been injuries. And that's why
all those guys had an injury history when we drafted them, though.
Yeah, well, I had injury history. I had some injuries coming in. You know, I think if you go play at those colleges they played at, there's going to be some injuries. Everybody's got some type of history, bro, because nobody goes through those things unscathed. It depends on the grade of the injuries. You know, are you talking, ACLs? Are you talking, all the different things? If any broken bone, I don't ever worry about a broken bone coming from college because broken bones happen, they heal. But if you got a consistent hamstring all the time, or you got a consistent ankle all the time, or things like that, I get it. I know Waddle had a tough injury coming out of Alabama. Of course, Tua's couple injuries coming out of Alabama were rough. So I get that part too. And we seem to get some guys that have but those are serious histories, so that you're talking about with those guys. And so he's got to be a little careful with that. You get enamored with certain universities and you just don't care. You just like, we'll draft Alabama or we'll draft Georgia, we'll draft Ohio State. But I think when you look at the history of the league, it looks like Ohio State and Georgia are the ways to go. Even Michigan, a lot of times, especially on defense, is the way to go. Find some of those guys out there, man, and stop taking flyers, man. Take some bona fide guys that played in some big time games, get some big time competition, and make those your picks. They'll be fine at the next level because their universities have prepared them to play at the next level. All Penn State talks about with our guys is how can I get you better for the next level? Used to be we're going to graduate you. You're going to play for a national championship. Yeah, that's part of it. But what we want to do is develop you for your future at the next level, and that's part of what the game has come to now.
All right, before I get you out of here, I got a couple of fan questions to ask you.
Okay.
You play for 2 of the greatest head coaches of all time, Joe Paterno and Don Shula. Which one?
Oh man, you gonna make me make a decision, man. Oh, that's messed up, bro. That's messed up. I love them both. They're different coaches, but they're both very demanding. I didn't like Joe at first because Joe was tough as hell, man. It was tough as hell as a freshman going to Penn State. I didn't like the uniforms at first, all the stuff that I didn't like, but then I ended up definitely loving the man. One thing I knew about Joe never cursed. You'll never hear a 4-letter word from Joe or more. He never cursed. We weren't allowed to curse. The coaches weren't allowed to curse. We called him by his first name, so that was really cool. When I got to the NFL, now Shula, boy, he had a lot of good 4-letter words that he could use,
Chasing you around in his car.
Oh my God, it was crazy hearing how the pro game was different, how grown men actually interacted compared to us kids in college versus. So if I had to make a choice, I would not make one. As long as it's not Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's the worst head coach.
Oh man. How was it when Don was driving his cart around?
Oh man. Yeah, when he had the Achilles tear.
Yeah.
He was in bad shape, but you couldn't keep him away from us, boy. He was still involved, that's for sure.
Favorite memory from the pros?
You know what? Draft day is obviously going to be one of my favorites all time. Just realizing the childhood dream, man.
Time out. Weren't you sleeping?
I was. Well, let me tell you. If you want to tell the whole story, it's like, Big C. Our draft started on Sunday when I played, Sunday at noon, right?
Yeah.
And so Penn State had the blue-white game on that Saturday, so I was partying at Penn State the whole weekend because I said, hell, I've already done all I can do. The draft is coming. I mean, I can't. So I might as well just kick it here one last time. And so we partied so hard at Penn State on Saturday, man. Then I got up and I drove to my hometown in Cleveland, Ohio. I was exhausted, bro. And I knew I wasn't going in the top 10, top 20. So, man, I had plenty of time to take a nap. So I took a nap until the 20th pick. Yeah, that's correct. So, and I got the one phone call from Don Shula on draft day, and that was the rest was history, man. Because I wanted to go, close to Penn State. Like I wanted to go to Philly. I wanted to go to, or Pittsburgh, or I wanted to go close to home. So I wanted to go to Cleveland or Cincinnati, or I wanted to go warm. And I got warm. I got Dan Marino. I got Don Shula. So, that nap was well worth it, bro. In case I did miss a call from anybody else that was somewhere else in the country, but no, that was the only call I got. So that was great. But then just being a part of a great organization, man, and learning from, some of the great wide receivers that came through there, being a part of Danny's history, Dan Marino's history. I got a few different stops along the way, catching his 400 touchdown pass, different things like that. I mean, that was all special, man. I wish we would have accomplished more as a team. I thought our team was good enough to accomplish a lot more. So that's the thing that bothers me more than anything, that we came up way short than what we should have with the talent that we had on that football team.
Well, to be fair, Natron Means stepped out of bounds.
That'd be today's game.
You remember that Natron Means stepped out of bounds. Like
if it was in today's game, they reviewed that and we changed. Everything changes, right? Change the course of history.
I mean, San Francisco would have been tough, but Natron Means stepped out of bounds.
Yeah, no doubt. They would have got us.
Favorite teammate of all time?
Oh man, I've got so many. I love my teammates, bro. I really do. You got to go to the wide receiver building. Lamar Thomas and probably Charles Jordan, two wide receivers, are my favorite, man. Those two guys right there. I had to deal with a lot of stuff with them dudes, man. But they're my dogs, man. So those are my two favorite dudes on the football team. Lamar Thomas and I never in a million years thought we'd be cool playing UM versus Penn State the last 2 years of our college careers. And we talked so much trash to each other, man. And we met at the combine, and we became like really cool at that point. And then when he got traded to the Dolphins, man, I'm like, this dude right here is my dude, man. We've been cool ever since.
What was it like to play with Dan Marino? Because Dan Marino's that's the holy trinity for me, man.
Oh man, it was tough at first, man. But my key for playing with Danny was knowing every damn thing in that playbook. You talk about Liam Eichenberg. I was the Liam Eichenberg of the wide receiver. I knew every single position except for, hopefully I was making more plays. Yeah. Then Liam has made, a lineman making plays. I don't know how you even equate that. But anyhow, but once I got on the same page with Danny, and Danny trusted that I was going to be where I'm going to be when I'm supposed to be there, we became like, a 1-2 punch all the time. You talk about the conversion on third down. People knew he was throwing the ball to me on third down, and he still threw it, and we still made plays happen. I had double coverage a lot on third down, especially when I was inside, and he still found a way to get me the football because he trusted I was going to be where I'm going to be when I was supposed to be there. Hell, I was just hanging out with him the other day. Me, him, and Duper were hanging out. We had to do an event, and of course, we hung out a little bit before and after that. And that's my guy right there, man. I couldn't have been blessed with a better quarterback in a better situation than playing for the Miami Dolphins and Dan Marino.
Yeah, that's my idol. I had told my funny story real quick. I had made a joke that Dan Marino was my father, and and my kids were little, and they were like, they called my mother Mamu, and they were like, "Where's that guy that Mamu used to date?" And I was like, "Who?" They were like, "That one guy." And I was like, "Who are you talking about?" They're like, "The guy that plays football." I was like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "The guy you got pictures of and stuff." I was like, "He's not. Mamu really didn't date you." I'm like, "Stop." But yeah, he's the holy trinity for me. Your football career was cut a little bit short. Do you feel like did you get your fulfillment, or do you feel like some was left on the table? And
yeah, I definitely feel like something was left on the table, man. I mean, honestly, I was playing my best football when I got hurt, and you know what? I'm not alone when things like that happen. Very few people leave football on their own terms.
Yeah.
you know, you got the Peyton Mannings and the Tom Brady's and guys like that leave on their own terms, healthy, and probably play another year if they wanted to. For me, though, I thought that my career was just ascending. It was just, I was getting better.
I agree.
The connection with Danny was getting better. I mean, we were having some, we're having some really, really solid seasons. And
we led the league in receptions
in 98. Yeah. So that's the thing about it. You know, when you talk about being a receiver, especially one that's not very fast, when you take away my left foot, you know what I mean? Then now my ability to come out of cuts and run routes and things like that is all compromised. Getting off the football is all compromised. So yeah, there was definitely a lot more meat on the bone for me as a wide receiver. But hell, man, a lot of guys that have worse injuries that put them out and had them in worse situations.
All right. You got anything going on you want to tell the people about? Or
no, I just want to make sure you guys keep paying attention to our Fish Tank podcast. We've got a really good one coming out next Tuesday where we've ran down Joey Harrington and his stint that he had with the Miami Dolphins. He's got some great stories and great stuff to talk about. It was pretty incredible. If you haven't checked out the Craig Heil was the guy that handled our flights and stuff. I like the guys behind the scene, Big C. The guys that didn't play ball, but the guys that are part of, the management and the flights and things like that. He's got some great Joe Robbie stories and things like that that were in Shula stories that were second to none, man. So the podcast is what it's all about right now for us, at O.J Mcduffie, at the Fish Tank 81. And we've had a lot of fun with it. So just check out those couple of episodes that are coming out, bro.
All right, awesome. I greatly appreciate you. Hopefully, we can talk again.
Bro, when'd your hat come in? I saw that hat recently. You just got that, didn't you? That hat is fresh.
Listen, I'm actually upset about this hat.
Uh-oh.
Like the look of it, I love, but it's like a corduroy material.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that.
I was so upset about it.
Okay, it doesn't look that way. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad like from a distance, but like I pulled it out the box and I was like, what the hell?
Oh, okay. That changes everything then.
Yeah, but I was gonna order a draft hat, but I seen this one and I was like, nah, I like this. You know what I mean?
That's clean. That's clean. Well, it's good. Corduroy's good for up north, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel bad or anything. It's just, it's not what I was expecting, I guess.
I got that. I feel you.
This me being a real fanboy, how I get besides going on eBay, how I get your John Hancock on something.
Oh man, just hit me up. You got my, just shoot me address, shoot me something. I wish I had jerseys, man. I got so crazy with my jerseys, man. I had so many jerseys and I just started giving away, and I look up and I've got like 2 left. And so my sons took one. One got a home jersey, one got an away jersey. So I don't even have any freaking jerseys anymore, man. And to get one made with our logo on it, not the current logo, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So it's like shit, bro. But I got you. Whatever else I got you.
Yeah, I'll take whatever. Mr. Richmond Webb sent me something in the mail. I definitely appreciate him. He was on the podcast. But yeah, I'd love to have you on again at some point. Okay. I appreciate you. One of the Miami Dolphins all-time greats. Brought so many happy memories to my childhood, and I just want to say thank you again, and God bless you, sir.
Bro, I appreciate you having me on, man. Let's do it again. Let's run it back, all right?
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, have a good one, buddy.
You too. Thank you. That was the great O.J Mcduffie. Man, what a great guy. Taking the time out to work with little old me means a lot. I'll be on with Douglas Do Wrong later tonight, 7 p.m. Listen, if you haven't had a chance, go and check out dang, now I'm having a brain fart. Go check out the John Gruden video with what's it? Will Johnson from Ohio State. Listen, he's a late round guy that I think he'd be a nice fit with the Miami Dolphins. He's a big, strong arm quarterback, super intelligent. I think that the Miami Dolphins should consider adding him in the 5th round, maybe 4th. Yeah, Will Howard. Is that his name, the Ohio State quarterback? Check him out on John Gruden's quarterback thing. Ohio State our quarterback. Ohio State quarterback. Yeah, Will Howard. Check him out. I think he could be phenomenal. Like I said, big, strong, accurate, super intelligent. I think he could be a hidden gem in this NFL draft. I feel like he's a leader. He's a student of the game. Phenomenal guy. Also, Riley Leonard from Notre Dame. I'm not as high on him as I am Will Howard, but I think Riley Leonard from Notre Dame also could be someone that we should look to add in the later rounds if we don't pull the trigger on Will Howard. There's just 2 options at quarterback that I watched episodes of the John Gruden quarterback class or whatever it's called, and listen, phenomenal guys. Definitely both are workers. Riley Leonard, super athletic. I think he has a 71-yard rushing touchdown, can throw the ball good. Just check it out. I hope y'all dug the interview. More worried about the first rounds. We're hoping to get 2 starters, and you talking 5th round. I'm talking about a quarterback, Glenn. I'm talking about a quarterback. I mean, we've talked the first round to death, Glenn. What else you want me to say? I mean, I think Will Johnson or you trade back. Will Johnson or trade back for me. I don't know what else you want me to say about the first round, Glenn. First, I can tell you listen, I do a million mock drafts a day, and I'm constantly trading. So I can mess with every different scenario. And my goal is to trade back to like 21, 22, get an extra first round or an extra first round draft pick, an extra second round draft pick this year. And then take some of our late round capital, because we got a lot of late round picks, package that with one of the second round picks we got, and try to move up to the top of the second round. And then I'm taking Will Johnson, or in the first round, if we trade back, I'm taking Grant, and then I'm taking a corner, and then maybe safety, offensive lineman. I mean, there's it just depends how the draft board falls. Gruden compared Will Howard to Josh Allen due to height and weight plus college accuracy traits. Yeah, he did, Edward. He did. I'd take Warren if he's there. I do not agree with that pick. I will lose my shit if we take Warren. I will absolutely lose my shit if we take Warren. I will be pissed the hell off if we take Warren. Yeah, I think Howard has the opportunity to be really good. I think Will Howard has the opportunity to be really good. Of course, we're having Dudley Do Wrong on the show tonight to talk the NFL draft. And all things Miami Dolphins. Again, I know that it peeves a lot of you guys off. I hope to God, I know Slick Rick had posted something about an all-pro being traded out of Miami, and automatically, the 2 all-pros we have on this team, Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek Hill. Listen, I want to compete this year. I know that people aren't happy with Tyreek Hill. I'm not happy with Tyreek Hill. But I hope to God, just give him one more year here. Just one more. Because if we trade Tyreek Hill, you might as well give this season up. You might as well just give up on this season. Tyreek Hill is that important to this team. I mean, he just is. Yeah, but what are you really going to get for Ramsey? I mean, we only traded a fourth and a tight end. What are we really going to get for Ramsey? So is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? Let's bang out this mock draft real quick. All right, we got 4 trade offers for the number 13 pick. They give us a 1 next year, blah, blah, blah. Next offer, a 1, a 6, and Jordan Morgan. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 5. So we're obviously taking this one from the Broncos. I'm taking this one from the Broncos. Now, people are going to criticize. They're not going to want us to touch next year's picks, which I understand. But in this instance, that extra second rounder that we got from the Broncos, or no, we got an extra first round from the Broncos. No, we didn't. What did we get? We got an extra third round from the Broncos. I'm going to try the package, our 2 and 3, the extra 3 we got in our 2. Trade. Oh, shit. Never mind. Let's try to do something realistic. Never mind. I won't do all that. We won't do all that. All right. Let's see who we got over here. All right. Quarterback, Jackson Dart. Running back, wide receiver, Gray Zabel. Linebacker, Jalen Walker. Mike Green. I still got to make a trade. Because I feel like we trade back in the first round and you try to do what you can to get back up to the second round. So try to get up to the top of the second round. And what's that going to look like? We're going to try to keep it in this year's draft picks. Well, actually, we got that extra third. So we're going to pluck that in there. So a 2, a 3. Let's try a 5. Select team. Damn it. Select team. Let's try the Jaguars. This damn freaking thing always open. All right. Offer train. Excellent. Yes. So we got a higher second round pick. All right, let's see. They want to give us a 2 next year, 4 next year. No. A 1, a 3, a 4. I'm accepting this trade. Don't draft Mike Green. All right, let's see who we got. I'm taking Kenneth Grant in the first round here. Boom. Kenneth Grant in the first round. Negative. So it's 39. We get a second and a third. Oh, I'm taking it. Because I want all those picks. Stop popping up. Offensive lineman. We're going to take Donovan Jackson. We're on the board again. I'm going to take Malachi Starks. Next offer. Next offer. Next offer. Reject all. Don't draft Devin Neal. Fuck. Oh, I thought it did. Sorry. Excuse my language. We're going to take Zy Alexander. Oh, look at this. I don't know. No, reject all. All right, let's see. Think Cam Scattaboo. Quinn Helm. Oh, I missed out on him. Damn it. Emory Jones. Damn, we missed out on Will Howard. That pisses me off. Pebbles. Willie Lampkin. JJ Pegas. We missed on both quarterbacks. Son of a monkey's uncle. Jack Kaiser, Notre Dame. Hoosie, North Carolina. Isaac Tesla, wide receiver. And Brady Cook, quarterback, just for the hell of it. So a little quick mock. Kenneth Grant, Donovan Jackson, Malachi Starks, Zy Alexander. Damn it. Stand pop up. It's Alexander, Gunnar Helm, Emery Jones, Pebbles, Lampkin. Not a bad little one. Not a bad little one. I'd be happy with Warren at 13. Syracuse quarterback is better. I don't know, Craig. Check out them guys. Check out them guys. Check out Will Howard and Riley Leonard. Check them both out. Check them out. Check them out. Check them out, fellas. Anything you guys want me to ask Dudley Do Wrong tonight? Any questions? Any comments, concerns? Anything you want me to ask Dudley Do Wrong? I said Dudley Do Right, didn't I? Will Howard was impressive. Yeah, I felt like he was impressive. Just go check out the video. Maybe you don't agree, but check it out. Let me know what you think. 3 great starters at A. Yeah, I mean, it falls in different spots, but, you know, Glenn said, you know, we're worried about the first rounds. And yeah, I'm absolutely worried about the first rounds. The first 3 rounds has a lot of determination on what our future is going to look like. So I'm absolutely concerned with the first 3 rounds of the draft. But that doesn't mean you get to overlook later rounds. Later rounds is where you can really win the draft with them diamonds in the rough. You know, could you imagine if we find our starting quarterback of the future in the 5th round, 6th round, a la Tom Brady? You know what I mean? A la Tom Brady. So, yeah, make sure you hit that like button for me. Again, it was such a pleasure to have Mr. McDuffie on. Great guy, great person. I appreciate him. I will ask Doug about Warren. Doug is messaging me right now, asking me how long I need for tonight. But yeah, make sure you hit that like button for me. We'll be back 7 p.m. to talk with Dudley Do Wrong. Make sure you tune in and make sure you hit that like button. Until then, I love y'all. Thank y'all. And we'll see you later. Until then, you know what it is. Fins up, mofo!
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they see me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds, they can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing